Hey guys, welcome back to Baking Butterly Love. I know it's been quite a while, but I'm back today and I've got a fun little tutorial for you on how to pipe some easy buttercream flowers onto cupcakes. For this first flower, I'm going to use a tip 125K. So this is a Korean style petal tip, which means it has a super thin opening, and that just helps create really thin, pretty ruffled petals. You want to position the tip so that the longer end is pointed toward the center of the cupcake. Then, holding the tip just slightly angled away from the cupcake, you want to squeeze and drag the tip from the center out to the edge and then back in again. And that is your first petal. So this is super easy, and since the petals are ruffled, you don't have to worry about them being perfect or evenly sized. You do want to make sure that they overlap a bit or that they're at least touching on the sides, but otherwise you can just let the buttercream fall wherever it will. And the slower that you go, the more ruffles you'll get. By the way, I'm using Swiss meringue buttercream for these cupcakes, but you could really use any kind of stiff frosting that you like. But if you want to use this Swiss meringue buttercream, the recipe for it is linked in the description below. Also, I wanted to mention that this 125K is kind of a specialty tip. I know you could definitely order online and sometimes at the craft store, but if you don't have one, you could also use a regular petal tip. Your petals are just going to come out a little bit thicker and less ruffled. It's also a really large petal tip, but I'm actually piping on jumbo cupcakes in this video, so it's perfect for this size cupcake. You can add more layers of petals if you like, but with all that ruffled texture, I'm pretty happy with just the one layer. And then to finish the flower, I'm going to use a number 233 tip, that's the grass piping tip, to do the centers. So you just want to give it a short squeeze and then stop squeezing before you start to pull away. If you don't have a grass tip, you could also just use a small round tip and pipe all those little stamen individually. Now for the next design, instead of piping one large flower, I'm going to do a few smaller clusters of flowers. So I'll start off just by piping a base of buttercream so they have something to stick to. It doesn't need to be totally perfect because you're going to cover up a lot of it, but if you want to pipe it with like a star tip or something to make it look a little neater, you could do that. Now I'm going to go in using a number 16 star tip to pipe small little clusters of green. And these are going to be kind of like the base of my flowers. I don't know what kind of flowers these are, I just made them up. And then after the green is piped, I'm going to go back in with a small round tip. This is a number 4, and just going to pipe small dots all over the cluster. Do a few more clusters like that around the cupcake and it's complete. For the next flower, I'm going to use the 125K tip again, but this time I'm going to use 2 different colors in my piping bag. So when you want to fill a piping bag with an accent color, it's usually easiest to prop it up in a glass or a cup and then fold the edges over so it works as a little stand for you. Then you can take a small spatula and spread your accent color down one side of the bag. I'm doing purple, and then I'm going to use white for the rest. So you can see once you push the buttercream down, there's a stripe of purple along the one side. And if you want, you can squeeze out some of the buttercream first until you start to see both colors coming out. You also want to line up that stripe of accent color with one of the ends of your piping tip. So if it's not lined up, just twist the tip around into the right place. Now for this flower, I'm gonna do layers of smaller petals. So you still wanna keep the long edge of the petal tip towards the center like we did before, but you're just gonna use small squeezes and like a small little arcing motion to create the petals. This is more of a structured flower, unlike the ruffly one before, so you do wanna try and keep the petals fairly even. Once you complete the first ring around the cupcake, you can move a little bit more towards the center to pipe the next row and then the next one until the cupcake is all covered. For the centers, I'm going to use that number 16 star tip again with green buttercream and pipe small dots around the center, and then finish by adding some small white sprinkles for a little more texture. And there you have it, 3 easy ways to pipe flowers on cupcakes. I hope you found this video helpful and inspiring. If you did, make sure that you give it a like, and I will see you in the next video.